A familiar sight for us normally in the valley, but we're nowhere near having to plow our way out like this. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Krista Bain. Chicago is working on digging itself out of a snowstorm that's caused chaos this weekend, but it's all bare here in the valley for the most part. Let's go to meteorologist Lisa Green to take a closer look now. Lisa?
Thanks, Krista. Yeah, it is a big problem for those folks in other parts of the Midwest digging out from that snow, and it's still ongoing in parts of the lower Great Lakes, and it extends all the way now toward the Atlantic, New York City, and eventually over into Boston, too. They'll be getting some snow. And as we look into our region, quiet as can be. We have no snow to show you here on the radar screen, and in fact, they've got more than a foot of snow falling there, and in some cases double in this event what we've seen all season. Here's a look at our January recap. It was a very warm month, 16 degrees on average. That's about 6 to 7 degrees above average for this month. That puts us at the 12th warmest January on record. Snowfall, not much, 3 inches of snow, less 8 inches below the average on our snowfall for January. Our current seasonal totals are at 7.5 inches. That is it so far for this season for Fargo. When I return, we'll be talking about if we have any more chances of adding to that abysmal amount for those of us who want to see it, coming up in just a few minutes.
After a few tips, police are still looking for a missing 18-year-old from Grand Forks. Jenna Tai was reported missing 4 days ago. Police say they believe she left on her own, but they, along with family, are concerned for her welfare. Police have received a couple calls, but nothing that led them to Jenna. Police tell us she is due in court tomorrow on drug-related charges. If you have any information regarding the location or welfare of Jenna, you're asked to call 701-787-8000. Bison Nation is remembering a former player who lived with an immense amount of Bison Pride. Former NDSU Bison fullback Tyler Jangula died earlier today. The 28-year-old died peacefully in his home in Williston. Bison offensive coordinator Tim Polisek says Jangula was the epitome of Bison Pride and what it represents. Polisek says he heard the news from Jangula's sister, saying he went into surgery Friday for a ruptured Achilles. He died from complications from the surgery. Jangula played for the Bison from 2004 to 2008. A drug pipeline that supplied meth from the Twin Cities to North Dakota has shut down. Strangely enough, it all started with electronics stolen from homes and businesses in Grand Forks and Twin Cities suburbs. But as Reg Chapman learned, those stolen items led to a much bigger problem.
The investigation began in North Dakota.
Grand Forks, North Dakota, and the University of North Dakota made a connection to a series of burglaries up there being committed by the same group of individuals.
Laptops and computers, even large projectors, were taken from campus. Investigators there linked the burglaries to eBay, where the stolen merchandise was being sold. The account holder is from South Minneapolis.
Investigators of the 5th Precinct here, we conducted a search warrant on their behalf and recovered some of the items that they were looking for.
Sergeant Scott Downing says investigators did more digging and realized this operation involved more than just stealing and reselling electronics.
That it was actually connected to a group of individuals selling narcotics. Specifically, they were trading the items for methamphetamine, which they were then transporting back up to North Dakota and selling.
Investigators served another search warrant that turned up more than $40,000 in electronics. The burglaries were just not in North Dakota. Homes and businesses in Twin Cities suburbs like Maple Grove were also hit. What was stolen was traded for drugs.
But it was roughly anywhere between $200 to $400 worth of methamphetamine that they were receiving in exchange for the stolen computers and laptops and such that they were bringing down, because the resale value of methamphetamine up in the North Dakota area is 2 to 3 times the value of what it is being currently sold for here in Minneapolis.
Not only did police slow down burglaries in 2 states, they were also vital in shutting down a drug pipeline that went from the Twin Cities to North Dakota.
If the preliminary information that we have is any indication, he was definitely involved in a lot of stuff, and hopefully this will help slow it down a little bit.
Police have not identified the man they think traded the stolen electronics for drugs. He may face federal drug charges for distributing narcotics across state lines. And remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow stories like this one, along with weather and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day. A power outage has left a couple hundred without power during the Super Bowl game in South Fargo. Around 240 Cass County Electric customers lost power around 7:45 tonight, according to its website. And the map shows areas along 32nd Avenue South and 25th Street were affected. A damaged transformer caused the outage and will need to be replaced to restore power to customers. Funeral and prayer service arrangements have been scheduled for a beloved Fargo teacher, Randall. A gathering is planned for family and friends on Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. at St. Anthony of Padua Catholic Church in Fargo. A prayer service is scheduled to follow at 7 o'clock. There will be another gathering Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. at the Shanley High School Gymnasium. The funeral will also be held at the Shanley High School Gymnasium at 10 a.m. Rusted died Saturday morning, and he suffered a heart attack last week, and his family made the decision to take him off life support. Tomorrow, be sure to tune in to the Valley today for Christies Up Before the Sun series. Get a behind-the-scenes look at businesses in the Valley every Monday in February. But what we won't be waking up to in the Valley is snow. But that's just not the case in some parts of the Midwest. Some areas could see more than a foot before it's all over. And now the storm has its sights on the Northeast. Don Champion reports.
In the Midwest, it was hard finding anything super about this Sunday. Cars were abandoned along highways in Omaha, Nebraska. In Des Moines, Iowa, near whiteout conditions blinded drivers, and in Chicago, the slow-moving storm caused blizzard conditions.
A little snow never hurt. Yesterday, we were all playing basketball in the driveway. Today, I got my snowblower out.
More than a foot of snow is expected in many areas. The storm that pounded the Midwest is the most far-reaching of the season, stretching from Nebraska to Maine.
We are getting, in this 24-hour cycle, what we got for all the month of January, which is why we're making sure that the resources are there to keep our streets plowed and passable.
The storm is now pushing east and threatens to dump a foot of snow in places like Boston. People in New England are still recovering after nearly getting 2 feet of snow last week.
Might just be a little bit too much in 1 week, but we're enjoying it.
Here in New York City, a wintry mix is expected. The area is bracing for about 5 inches of snow and a 1/4 inch of ice on top of that. The mayor here says the Monday morning commute could be dangerous. Nationwide, more than 2,300 flights were canceled Sunday. More cancellations are expected on Monday. Don Champion, CBS News, New York.
That snowstorm has grounded thousands and thousands of flights across the country, including some at Hector International Airport, where a couple of flights scheduled in and out of Fargo to Chicago were canceled. Dozens more were canceled in the cities.